People often ask me how I travel so often while working a 9 to 5. And the truth is, it's not luck, it's very intentional planning. So if you work a 9 to 5 and have been looking to travel more often, then this video is for you and you definitely want to watch it. Hi and welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time stopping by, hi, my name is Molola Akinleye. I live in Manchester, England, and you're welcome to my own space on the internet. And if you're my returning subscriber, lots of kisses to you and thank you for always coming back. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing some of the things that have helped me to travel so much while working a full-time 9 to 5 job and living in England. You might be asking, what are your qualifications in order to tell me all of that? Well, in 2025, I visited 13 countries and 26 cities while working full-time. Clock it. And I was able to do this all while using my annual leave. If you want to know how to maximize your annual leave and how you can travel a lot while working full-time and living in the UK, then this video is definitely for you. Stay tuned. Some of the expectations I'm going to say early is, first of all, this is not going to be advice for everyone. It might not work for you if your circumstances are different from mine. And make sure you only take what applies to you and what you can customize to your own particular experience and circumstances. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. The first thing you're going to do is to actually have the mindset that you want to travel. I know that might come across as very obvious to a lot of people, but if you're not intentional about the way you plan your trips, then I'm so sorry to say it's definitely not going to happen. The way people plan weddings, plan renovations, plan career moves, that is the same way you're going to be very intentional about planning your trips and your travel. This might also mean that you're not able to do every trip as at when you want to do it. I wanted to go to France last August, but I had to cancel because there were just so many circumstances coming up and I couldn't make it for the trip anymore. You have to make sure that every trip you're going on, you pick it intentionally and you're very, very specific about the places you go to. So how then do I make it work for me? The first thing I do is to make sure I am maximizing my annual leave. Let me explain this to you. In England, we have about 25 or 26 days of annual leave, and that's excluding bank holidays. When you include the bank holidays, I think it comes about to 33. These 33 days, you need to make sure you're structuring them properly such that when you take 2 days off in a specific time period, you're able to then get 4 days, 5 days, or even sometimes you can get up to 10 days. And I'm going to give you a very practical example of that. We all know from the calendar that Easter this year is going to be in April. I think it's between April 3rd to April 6th. And I'm going to show you how you can turn your Easter holiday from being a 4-day holiday into a 10-day holiday, which you can even use to go on a long-haul trip to somewhere in Asia. It would be nice to go to Thailand or Bali during that period. Fingers crossed. You have April 3, April 4, April 5, April 6 as holidays and weekends. If you book from March 30th up until April 2nd, so that's booking Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday before Good Friday, right? So you've booked 4 days of annual leave and you can get 10 days of holiday while using only 4 leave days. Then you're able to get March 28, 29, 30, 31. You also get April 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 10 days, guys. That is 10 whole days you can use to go on holiday, and you're only just using 4 days out of your annual leave. Some of the things to really note when you're maximizing your annual leave is that you need to plan your leave around these dates. And typically, travel prices usually go very high at those periods. So you also need to make sure that whatever you're booking it early. Let's say if your leave calendar at work runs from September to July, you want to make sure that by September, you've already booked those dates down so that other people who also want to book it and maybe are booking it last minute, you won't get your leave cancelled from work. The second thing, and I've been preaching this so long, is to travel during shoulder season. Now, shoulder season is that very sweet spot between peak season and off season. In England, we've got shoulder season, which is usually around April and May. Summer is June, July, August, and that's when we have the best weather in the country. However, June, July, and August are the periods when there's a lot of tourists, everyone is coming to feel the good holiday. April and May, we have spring. Some days the weather is really good. You can have up to highs of like 18, 17 degrees, which is still good weather. And then you also have like days which can be very cold, as low as about 6-7 degrees. But the trick is between that April and May, the prices are not as high as they will be during peak season, and then you don't have a lot of people. I did this when I was going to Albania and Montenegro, and quite a number of my trips I do go during shoulder season just because it's a lot cheaper for me. A lot of people are not traveling around this period and I'm able to film content when I want. Just to mention that there's typically less competition at work also to get leave approved during this period. So April, May, not a lot of people are traveling because, you know, quite a number number of people might still have their children in school. It's not half term, it's not the summer holiday. There's a lot more people to do the work in the office, and you can actually get your leave approved around this time. The third system I use is taking extreme day trips. Hear me out. This is one form of travel I realized last year, and I am in on it full time. I went to Milan last year for a day, as well as Budapest for a day, and I'm hoping this year as well to do some other day trips. This is my secret weapon because, one, I live in the UK and there's close proximity to a lot of European countries, and with the Schengen visa I also have access to about 27 or 29 other countries that I can visit within Europe, and most of them are usually short haul flights. Typically I can book a flight with Ryanair, with EasyJet, and the way a day trip works is that the flight takes off early in the morning, say around 6-7 a.m., and then you're back late at night. For instance, when I was going to Milan, flight took off at 7:15 a.m., which meant I had to be at the airport from 5 a.m. The flight took off from Milan at about 10 p.m. Milan time, which was GMT at that point in time. So I landed back in the UK at about 11:30 p.m. and then I still went to work the next day. It was very, very hectic, but I was able to do it. I took a day trip to Budapest. Flight was supposed to take off at about 7 a.m., but it took so long. Ryanair, count your days. And we didn't leave until about 7:55. I got into Budapest at about 10 a.m. I explored for about 11-12 hours, and then I was out of there as at, I think my flight was by 9:30, and I was back in the UK by 11:30 p.m. That's one of the things you can do when you want to maximize your travel. So for Milan, I only booked 1 day of annual leave. For Budapest, I booked 2 days of annual leave. I used one to travel, and then because I had a lot to do personally, I used the next day to rest, and then coincidentally fell on the weekend, so I had like a 3-day holiday. Extreme day trips, if you live within the UK, that's one of the very, very good ways to be able to travel. Instead of also doing a day trip, if it's not your cup of tea, you can also do a short trip. I went to Montenegro, for instance, with my sister. I booked 2 days of annual leave, Friday and Saturday. We left on Thursday night because the flight was from London. I took the coach down to Gatwick. We left from there to Podgorica, and then we flew back into London on Sunday morning, and I was back in Manchester that night, ready to resume work the next day. So make sure you're looking into day trips as well as short trips if you want to travel more, but you're working full time. The fourth thing I'm gonna say is how I prioritize travel. A lot of people, when they book their leave days, usually book it for rest, for vacation, for relaxing. I book my leave days to travel. If you know me well, you know that already. Just towards the end of last year, I booked a few more days. I had some leave left, so I booked those ones to actually rest and relax. I'm very intentional about my leave days. My leave days are either for, family. When my sister-in-law was graduating from the University of Sunderland, I took a day off work to celebrate with her. I took a day off to go on a day trip. I took some time off to go to Morocco. When my friend was getting married in the UK, I took a day off to actually celebrate with him and his wife. So it's just making sure that you're prioritizing travel, and then also making sure that your leave days, you're using them towards the trips you want to go on, and not just using them for random things. What I also did this year was that I left about 5 days towards the end of the year, just because I knew it was going to be back to back and I would probably need to rest, which really came in handy. So when I went to Budapest for 1 day, got back home and I rested the next day, and it was really nice, which I think I will take it into 2026. And for some of my day trips, I will book an extra day. Maybe if I'm traveling on a Thursday, I would definitely be able to rest on a Friday and still have the weekend to recuperate from the trip, because the day trips, trust me, they're no beans. You get tired real quick. And then the fifth thing I do, and this one is mostly personal, is I don't travel out of the UK in summer. Hear me out. If you meet an average person living in England or Scotland, or even in Manchester, the weather is not the best. It can be very cold, grey during winter, like we see very little sunlight. But in summer, I absolutely love the United Kingdom's weather. It's perfect. It's not too hot these days. It's not too cold. Sometimes I just go out in like sleeveless tops, really cute tank tops and some shorts. And that's the only time I really get to enjoy this weather, because when it's winter, it gets dark really easily. You don't have a lot of sunlight. But in summer, it's light out till about 10 p.m, quite late, early mornings as well. You get to see the sun very early and get to drink some really cold and chilled water. What I'm trying to say is, in the summer, I don't travel in the UK, and I've maintained that rule for about 3 years now. This summer, I only went to Sunderland for my sister-in-law's graduation. Apart from that, I didn't leave the UK. So the last trip was in June. I went to Spain on a brand trip in June. After then, the next trip I took was in September to Morocco. So June, July, August, typically I don't go out of the UK. I just stay here, enjoy the weather. I get to explore other places as well, places like Wales. I'm also looking forward to going to Belfast and Northern Ireland to be able to explore there this summer. That's my own personal rule, that I make sure to enjoy the summer in the UK. A lot of people travel out, so there's less people here, and that's fine with me. So those are the 5 things I do to help me be able to travel more while working a full-time job, living in the UK. But like I said earlier, this will not look the same for everyone. It's going to be very different. You might not have the same kind of leave days that I have. It might be that your company has 30 days of leave. Happy for you with that. It might be that you've got children, so you have to factor in time like half term when they're going to be on holiday. That's the only time you can travel. That's completely fine. Just pick out what's important for you within these tips that I've mentioned, and you can then implement them into your system. Remember that this is not a flex, it is a system, and you have to curate it to work for you. I've done mine, and this is how it works for me at the moment. In the future, that might change. Another thing to also know is that some seasons would require you to travel less. It's not going to be, back to back to back to back trips. No. Last year that I said I visited 13 countries, I did 8 of them in Q1. I did Netherlands, Belgium, Portugal, Spain, Gibraltar, Poland, Czech Republic, and Germany. 8 countries in Q1 between January and March, and then 4 countries. I went back to Spain again sometime in the year. So you have to be able to know when you are prioritizing travel. It is able to fit into your routine. For me, Q1 2026, I don't have plans to travel at all. I have some personal goals that I want to achieve. I'm trying to also work on my content. I need to put out all the content that I filmed last year from the travel vlogs and also from the vlogs I have pending. So I'm really, really slowing down with travel. Come Q2, which is coincidentally going to be the start of shoulder season, we outside. If there's anything for you to take away from this video, it's that you don't need to quit your job to actually see the world. I'm currently on a mission to visit 30 countries before I turn 30. I'm currently at 21. So I only have to do 9 countries this year, but you don't need to quit your job, to see the world. You don't need to inconvenience yourself. Traveling doesn't have to be very expensive. It can be a little bit expensive, but it doesn't have to be very expensive when you plan and you're able to follow the tips and, find out what works for you. Anyways, that's it from me in this video. If you've got any questions, please leave them in the comment down below. I'll definitely make sure to link some of the videos that I've talked about, some of the shots I've made about my trips, and I hope you really, really enjoy this. If you've watched till this point, please give me a white heart. I would really love to see that from you. And thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, I remain your favorite girl, and this is Wonder with Molola.